In judo, it's like C4. It's a bomb. We have to explode into things. That's how I see it. And in BJJ, you're like a car compactor. So what you do is just slowly crush the living shit out of things. What's up guys, I'm Nguyen, OG Fitness. Welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new, this channel is all about fitness for martial arts for older guys. If you're young, not for long. Okay, in today's video, we're gonna talk about the speed of sport. The difference between the speed of judo versus the speed of BJJ. So let me read you guys the question that prompted this video, and then we're gonna dive right in. I would have loved to have heard you mention the explosiveness of your typical judoka versus the more methodical approach from BJJ practitioners. When I, judoka black second dan, so that means black belt guys, went and trained with the BJJ guys, I immediately realized how my ground game, although better than your average judoka, was still lacking in overall knowledge versus the BJJ guys. Mounting the back and just ripping is illegal in judo. I'm not sure what our friend means here by ripping, but maybe reaping? Ankle locks, butterflies, etc. However, my explosiveness versus their slower python type style really helped me hold my own against them in the gym, and even surprised the coach, who was 4 times my size and also a black belt, but in BJJ. 4 times his size, that's pretty big. Like, I don't know how big our friend here is, but in other words, I want more off my speed of execution, whereas I had trouble when they started to tie me up and slowly work me. It was fun and interesting. A lot to unpack here, guys, and this is super interesting. So we're gonna dive in and talk about the first thing that stands out to me. The first thing that I want to explain to you guys. Have you ever heard, guys, how, oh, you know, this guy, all he does is use his strength? You hear a lot of that sometimes in BJJ. You know, so you have guys who been doing BJJ for a minute, and then there's these wrestlers that come in, or maybe these judokas, and then they complain about how these guys use their strength a lot. Now, let me tell you something about strength. Strength is actually a skill. The skill of contracting your musculature in the right sequence for a specific movement pattern. You need to be strong to be explosive. But to be explosive, you do have to train at the speed of your sport. In this case, the sport of judo. Most people, the way they develop their strength is lifting heavy weight. Now, when you lift something heavy, you have to go slow. Because if it's heavy for you, if it's really heavy for you, you're not going fast. And the issue with only developing your strength without incorporating explosive work, meaning not doing any kind of plyometrics, then you don't develop, or at least you don't maximize the ability to explode. So what I'm saying is the speed of sport here is important. The speed of judo is quite fast. In judo, you're standing up. When you're standing up, things can't be done slow. You have to go fast. Think of any kind of striking martial art. They're standing and they go about it pretty quickly. So in judo, it's the same thing. Yes, there's some moments where it's a little bit slower because, you know, we're grip fighting or we're resisting or whatnot. But when we go, we have to go. We have to explode into it for things to work. And even our setups tend to be very explosive and dynamic. And then once we launch the guy in the air and land him on the floor, smash him into the ground, then from there, if we're not done, if it's not an ippon, we have to finish it. So we have to go for a sub right away. Because if we don't do anything for 3 seconds, we get stood back up. So what happens is that judokas get used to the speed of their sport because their sport demands it. Once it hits the ground, we're either in a rush or we have the mindset of, you know what, let's just let the ref stand us back up. Let's just burn the clock, 3 seconds, that's all it takes. So that's why judo actually makes your BJJ better. Because most BJJ guys are not used to the speed of judo. Because BJJ tends to be more of a slow and methodical type of martial arts. But with that said, when you look at the top BJJ players, they're all explosive. So what our friend here lacks in knowledge, in sophistication, when it comes to the ground, when it comes to BJJ, he makes up the difference with being explosive, being quick, being strong, having endurance, superior gripping, and the urgency to sub a mother sucker. Also, his sense of balance and his athleticism tends to be superior than most BJJ guys. Because judokas are actually, in my opinion, better athletes overall than BJJ guys. But of course, that's slowly starting to change now. Because BJJ guys are also becoming better athletes. They also train in the weight room and cross-train in other disciplines as well, like judo and like wrestling. In judo, it's like C4. It's a bomb. We have to explode into things. That's how I see it. And in BJJ, you're like a car compactor. So what you do is just slowly crush the living shit out of things. So all the attributes of our friend here that he developed in judo actually helped to level out the playing field in BJJ. But that's only true to a certain point. Once he meets somebody, a BJJ player, who is also a great athlete, who is also very explosive and very technical, then he gets his ass kicked. Like our friend said, he does very well. His newaza is actually quite good compared to most judokas. And the reason that is because most judokas only like to throw. They like the flashy stuff. I've seen that. Not all of them, but quite a bit of them. They're like, I like throwing. Why? What's with this playing on the ground thing? You know? And for those of you guys who are like that, or who have heard this, I would suggest that you focus as much on the ground in newaza, in judo, than the tachiwaza. Because if not, then you only have half of the martial art. And that's why if there's not enough judokas who take the ground seriously, who care about it enough, then if you do, then you're going to beat most of them in judo. But then when you cross over to BJJ, that's where you see, oh, okay, well, they're a lot more technical, sophisticated, and to a degree, when I meet a BJJ practitioner, a high-level BJJ practitioner, then I'm screwed. So that's why, at the end of the day, I preach training both. That's the ultimate. Doing BJJ and doing judo, getting double black belt. That's what I'm going to go for. I'm already a black belt in judo. I eventually want to get my black belt in BJJ, so that I got to start that up again. Right now I'm blue. I think that it wouldn't take me too long to get to purple, because, well, I did BJJ for 6 years and I didn't get my purple because essentially, long story short, I changed clubs and that just screwed everything up. So that's it for this video, guys. So what do you think? Am I right? Am I wrong? Let me know what your take is on, the speed of sport, the differences between the speed of judo and the speed of BJJ. And that's it for this one, guys. Love you. Peace.